You know what's funny? People always ask me what the secret is to becoming fluent in English, and they expect me to say something complicated, like you need to memorize 10,000 words or study grammar for hours every day. But honestly, the real secret is way simpler than that. It's about doing 5 small things every single day. Not once in a while, not when you feel like it. Every day. And I'm going to tell you exactly what those 5 things are, because they changed everything for me when I was learning languages, and I've seen them work for thousands of other people too. Before we dive in, I just want to say something really important. Fluency isn't about perfection. I need you to hear that. It's not about speaking like a native speaker with 0 accent and never making a mistake. Fluency is about being able to communicate what you want to say when you want to say it without constantly searching for words or feeling stuck. It's about confidence. It's about flow. And these 5 daily habits, they're going to get you there faster than any textbook ever could. All right, so let's start with number 1. This is the one that most people skip, and it's honestly the most important one. Number 1 is you need to speak out loud every single day. And I mean actually speak. Not just in your head, not just thinking about what you would say. You need to move your mouth, use your voice, and produce actual sounds. I know this feels weird at first, especially if you're by yourself. But here's the thing. Your brain and your mouth need to work together. You can know all the words in the world, but if you never practice saying them, when the moment comes to actually speak, you're going to freeze up. So what does this look like in practice? It's actually pretty flexible, and you can make it work for your life. If you have someone to talk to in English, amazing. Have a conversation, even if it's just 5 minutes. Even if it's about something super simple like what you had for breakfast or what you're planning to do this weekend. If you don't have anyone to talk to, and I know a lot of you don't, that's totally okay. You can talk to yourself. Seriously, I used to do this all the time. I would narrate what I was doing, like I was the host of my own little TV show. Making coffee? I'd say out loud, okay, now I'm pouring the water into the coffee maker, and I'm adding 2 spoons of coffee, and I'm pressing the button to start it. Sounds silly, right? But it works. You're practicing forming sentences in real time. You're building that automatic response system in your brain. Another thing you can do is read out loud. Pick anything. A news article, a page from a book, something on social media. It doesn't matter, just read it out loud. This helps you with pronunciation, it helps you with rhythm, and it helps you get comfortable with the physical act of speaking English. Your mouth muscles, believe it or not, need training. Different languages use different sounds and different mouth positions. English might require you to move your mouth in ways your native language doesn't. So you need to practice. And here's a pro tip. Record yourself. I know, nobody likes hearing their own voice. It's uncomfortable. But recording yourself and then listening back is one of the fastest ways to improve. You'll catch mistakes you didn't even know you were making. You'll notice where you're hesitating. You'll hear your progress over time. You don't have to share these recordings with anyone. They're just for you. But trust me, this is gold. The key with speaking every day is consistency. It's better to speak for 10 minutes every single day than to have a 3-hour conversation once a week. Your brain needs that daily repetition. It needs to see that English is a regular part of your life, not something you only do occasionally. So commit to speaking out loud every day, even if it's just a little bit. Even if you feel ridiculous doing it. Do it anyway. All right, number 2. Listen to English every single day. And I'm not talking about sitting down with a textbook audio and forcing yourself to listen to boring dialogues about going to the post office. I'm talking about listening to things you actually enjoy. Things that interest you. Things that make you want to keep listening. Because here's the truth. If you're bored, you're not going to learn. Your brain checks out when it's bored. But when you're engaged, when you're curious, when you're entertained. That's when real learning happens. So think about what you like. Do you like true crime? Listen to true crime podcasts in English. Do you like cooking? Watch cooking videos on YouTube in English. Are you into fitness? Follow fitness influencers who speak English. Do you love pop culture and celebrity gossip? Great. Listen to that. The topic doesn't matter. What matters is that You're exposing your ears to natural English every single day. And I want to be really clear about something. When I say listen, I don't mean you have to understand every single word. In fact, at the beginning, you might not understand most of it. That's completely normal. Your goal isn't perfect comprehension right away. Your goal is to train your ear. You're teaching your brain to recognize the sounds of English, the rhythm, the intonation, the speed. You're getting familiar with how real people actually talk, not just how textbooks say they talk. Native speakers don't talk like textbooks. We use contractions, we drop sounds, we run words together, we use slang, we speak fast. If you only ever listen to slow, clearly pronounced educational content, you're going to be lost when you try to watch a movie or have a conversation with a real person. So you need to listen to authentic content, real podcasts, real TV shows, real YouTube videos, real conversations. Now, I'm not saying don't use educational content at all. That stuff has its place, especially when you're just starting out. But you need both. You need some content that's designed for learners, where things are explained and broken down. And you need content that's made for native speakers, where nobody's slowing down or simplifying things for you. That's where you're going to learn the real language. Here's how I recommend balancing it. Start your day with something you can mostly understand. Maybe it's a podcast for English learners or a video that has subtitles you can follow. Get your brain warmed up. Then, sometime during your day, listen to something more challenging. Something where you might only catch 50% or 70%. Don't stress about understanding everything. Just let it wash over you. Your brain is absorbing more than you think. And another thing, listen actively sometimes and passively other times. Active listening is when you're sitting down, paying full attention, maybe taking notes, really focusing. Passive listening is when it's just on in the background while you're doing other things. Both are useful. Active listening helps you really dig into the language and understand it deeply. Passive listening helps you get massive amounts of exposure without it feeling like work. I used to have English podcasts playing while I cooked dinner, while I cleaned my apartment, while I got ready in the morning. Hours and hours of English just surrounding me. The most important thing is to make listening a non-negotiable part of your day. Just like brushing your teeth, you don't skip it. You don't think about whether you feel like it. You just do it. Every single day, English goes in your ears. This is how you build fluency. This is how your brain starts to internalize the language without you even trying. Okay, number 3. Read something in English every day. And just like with listening, this should be something you actually want to read, not just grammar exercises or boring textbook passages. Real content, interesting content, stuff that makes you want to keep reading. Reading is so powerful because it does multiple things at once. First, it builds your vocabulary. You're going to encounter new words in context, which is the absolute best way to learn them. When you see a word used in a real sentence, in a real situation, your brain makes connections. You understand not just what the word means, but how it's used, when it's used, what kinds of words it appears with. That's way more valuable than just memorizing a definition from a dictionary. Second, reading helps you internalize grammar naturally. You start to see patterns. You start to get a feel for what sounds right and what sounds wrong, even if you can't explain the grammar rule. This is how kids learn their first language. They don't study grammar. They just absorb it from exposure. And you can do the same thing as an adult, especially through reading. Third, reading improves your writing. When you read good writing, your own writing gets better. You pick up sentence structures. You learn how to organize ideas. You see how punctuation works. You develop a sense of style. It all soaks in, even if you're not consciously thinking about it. So what should you read? Anything. Seriously. News articles, blog posts, novels, short stories, social media captions, Reddit threads, magazine articles, comic books, whatever. The key is to choose things at the right level for you. If something is way too hard and you're looking up every other word, it's going to be frustrating and you're going to quit. If something is way too easy and you know every single word, you're not going to learn anything new. You want that sweet spot where you understand most of it, but you're still being challenged a little bit. And here's a tip that really helped me: don't stop to look up every word you don't know. I know that's tempting, but if you stop every 2 seconds, you're going to lose the flow of what you're reading, and it's going to feel like torture. Instead, try to guess the meaning from context. Most of the time, you can figure out what a word probably means based on the words around it. If a word keeps showing up and you really can't figure it out, then yeah, look it up. But don't interrupt yourself constantly. Also, read both fiction and nonfiction. Fiction is great because it tends to have more descriptive language, more emotions, more dialogue. It's closer to how people actually speak. Nonfiction is great because it tends to have more formal language, more specific vocabulary, more structured arguments. You need both styles. If you only read one type, your English is going to be lopsided. And don't forget about reading out loud. I mentioned this earlier, but it's worth saying again. When you read silently, you're only engaging your eyes and your brain. When you read out loud, you're also engaging your mouth and your ears. You're creating more neural pathways. You're reinforcing the learning. Plus, you're practicing pronunciation at the same time. 2 for 1. Make reading a daily habit. Maybe it's 20 minutes before bed. Maybe it's during your lunch break. Maybe it's first thing in the morning with your coffee. Doesn't matter when. Just make it happen every day. And remember, it doesn't have to be a huge amount. Even just 10 or 15 minutes of reading every day will add up to something significant over time. You'd be amazed at how much you can read in a year if you just do a little bit every single day. Number 4, and this one might surprise you, write in English every day. Now, before you panic, I'm not saying you need to write essays or perfect paragraphs. I'm talking about simple, low-pressure writing. The kind of writing that doesn't feel like homework. Why is writing so important? Because it forces you to slow down and really think about the language. When you're speaking, things are fast. You don't have a lot of time to think about grammar or word choice. You just have to go, and that's good, that's necessary. But writing gives you time to be more careful. Time to experiment. Time to notice patterns. Time to correct yourself. It's like the difference between running and walking. Both are important, but they serve different purposes. Writing also helps. You process what you've been learning. When you try to write something, you have to pull language from your brain and use it actively. This is different from passive recognition, like when you're reading or listening and you understand something. Active use is harder, but it's what really cements things in your memory. If you can write it correctly, you know it. If you struggle to write it, that tells you what you still need to work on. So what kind of writing am I talking about? It can be super simple. You could keep a journal where you write a few sentences about your day. Today I went to the store and bought some groceries. I saw my friend and we had coffee. I'm feeling tired tonight. That's it. Nothing fancy. You're just practicing putting your thoughts into English sentences. Over time, your sentences will get longer and more complex naturally. But don't force it. Just write what feels comfortable. You could also write about what you're learning. If you listen to a podcast today, write a few sentences summarizing what it was about or what you found interesting. If you read an article, write your opinion about it. Do you agree? Disagree? Why? You're not writing for anyone else. You're writing for you. Nobody has to see this, so there's no pressure to be perfect. Another great option is to use social media in English. Write comments on videos you watch. Post your thoughts on something. Reply to other people's posts. This is writing practice that feels fun and social instead of like homework. And sometimes you might even get responses from other English speakers, which gives you real interaction. Just be yourself. Don't worry about making mistakes. That's part of the process. You can also try something called free writing. Set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes and just write. Don't stop. Don't edit. Don't worry about grammar or spelling or whether it makes sense. Just keep your hand moving and write whatever comes into your head. This is really good for building fluency because it gets you out of your own way. You stop overthinking. You stop trying to be perfect. You just let the English flow. And here's something important. When you write, try not to translate from your native language in your head. I know that's hard at first. I know your instinct is to think of what you want to say in your language, then translate it word by word into English. But that creates problems. Different languages have different structures, different ways of saying things. A word-by-word translation usually sounds awkward or weird or just wrong. Instead, try to think in English as much as you can. Use simple sentences. Use words you know. Don't try to translate complicated ideas. Just express things directly in English, even if it means simplifying what you're trying to say. Over time, your ability to think in English will grow, and you'll be able to express more complex ideas without translating. Write something every day. It doesn't have to be much. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be consistent. And don't forget, mistakes are how you learn. Every mistake you make is your brain testing a hypothesis. Oh, I thought it worked this way, but apparently it doesn't. Okay, now I know. That's learning. So don't be afraid of mistakes. Make them, learn from them, move on. All right, number 5, the last daily habit. And this is the one that ties everything together. Learn something new every day. Just one thing. One new word, one new phrase, one new expression, one new piece of grammar. Just one. That's it. Why just one? Because it's manageable. Because it doesn't feel overwhelming. Because you'll actually do it. If I told you to learn 50 new words every day, you'd probably give up after 3 days. But one thing, you can do that. Anyone can do that. And here's the magic. One thing a day is 365 things a year. That's a lot. That's significant progress. Small daily actions compound into massive results over time. So where do these new things come from? From everything else you're doing. When you're listening to a podcast and you hear a word or phrase you don't know, write it down. That's your new thing for the day. When you're reading an article and you come across an expression that seems useful, add it to your list. When you're having a conversation and someone uses a word in a way you haven't seen before, make a note of it. Your daily life in English is constantly giving you opportunities to learn. You just have to pay attention and capture them. Now, learning something doesn't just mean seeing it once and moving on. You need to actually do something with it. Write it down. Write the definition in your own words. Write an example sentence using it. Say it out loud a few times. Try to use it in conversation or writing that same day if you can. The more you interact with the new word or phrase, the more likely it is to stick. And be strategic about what you learn. Don't just learn random words that you'll never use. Learn words and phrases that are relevant to your life. If you talk about work a lot, learn work-related vocabulary. If you love talking about movies, learn words related to film and entertainment. If you're into sports, learn sports language. The stuff you actually care about is the stuff you'll remember because you'll have opportunities to use it. Also, focus on high-frequency words and phrases. These are the words that native speakers use all the time. Words like get, make, take, have. These little words are incredibly versatile and show up everywhere. Learning all the different ways to use them will boost your fluency way more than learning obscure vocabulary that you'll hardly ever encounter. Same with common phrases and expressions. Things like, I mean, you know, kind of, sort of, by the way, speaking of which. These little phrases make your English sound natural and fluent. Native speakers use them constantly, often without even thinking about it. When you start using them, your English will flow better and sound more authentic. Keep a notebook or a document on your phone where you collect these new words and phrases. Review them regularly. Not every single day, but maybe once a week, go back through your list and remind yourself what you've learned. This repetition is what moves things from short-term memory into long-term memory. You can't just see something once and expect to remember it forever. Your brain needs multiple exposures. And don't get discouraged if you forget things. That's totally normal. Forgetting is actually part of the learning process. When you forget something and then relearn it, it actually sticks better the second time. So if you come across a word you've learned before and you can't remember what it means, that's not failure. That's just your brain telling you it needs another exposure. No big deal. Look it up again, review it again, and move on. The beautiful thing about learning one new thing every day is that it keeps you engaged with the language. It keeps you curious. It keeps you progressing. Even on days when you don't feel like studying, learning just one thing is so easy that you'll do it anyway. And that consistency is everything. It's what separates people who eventually become fluent from people who stay stuck at the same level for years. Okay, so let's recap these 5 things really quick. Number 1, speak out loud every day. Number 2, listen to English every day. Number 3, read something in English every day. Number 4, write in English every day. Number 5, learn one new thing every day. 5 habits, every single day. No excuses, no days off. Now I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds like a lot. I don't have time for all of this every day, and I get it. Life is busy. We all have jobs, families, responsibilities, things to do. But here's the thing. These 5 habits don't have to take hours. They can fit into small pockets of your day. You can listen to a podcast while you're commuting. You can read an article during your lunch break. You can write a few sentences in your journal before bed. You can speak out loud while you're cooking dinner. You can learn one new word while you're waiting in line somewhere. The total time commitment? Maybe 30 minutes to an hour if you're being efficient. That's it. And honestly, if you're serious about becoming fluent, you can find 30 minutes. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's possible. It's a matter of priority. You make time for the things that matter to you. If fluency matters, you'll make time for these habits. And here's the other thing. Once you start doing these 5 things every day, they stop feeling like chores and start feeling like just part of your life. They become automatic. You don't have to force yourself anymore. It's just what you do. English becomes woven into your daily routine instead of being this separate thing you have to find time for. And that's when real progress happens. When the language is just part of your life, all the time, every day. I also want to talk about motivation for a second, because this is where a lot of people struggle. They start out really excited and motivated, and they do great for a week or 2 weeks or even a month. And then life happens, or they get busy, or they get discouraged and they stop. And then they feel guilty, and they think they've failed, and sometimes they just give up entirely. Don't do that. Don't let a bad day or a bad week derail everything. First of all, motivation is overrated. Motivation is this feeling that comes and goes. Some days you feel super motivated and you want to study for 3 hours. Other days you don't feel motivated at all and you don't want to do anything. That's normal. You can't rely on motivation. What you need is discipline. Discipline is doing the thing even when you don't feel like it, even when you're tired, even when you're busy, even when it would be easier to skip it. You do it anyway because you've committed to it. But discipline doesn't mean being harsh with yourself. It doesn't mean beating yourself up when you're not perfect. It means being consistent and showing up for yourself. And if you do miss a day, it's not the end of the world. Just start again the next day. Don't waste energy feeling guilty. Just get back to it. The only real failure is giving up completely. Another thing that helps is connecting with other people who are learning English. Find a study buddy, join an online community, participate in language exchange groups. When you're part of a community, you feel less alone. You can share your struggles and your wins. You can encourage each other. You can practice together. Learning a language can feel lonely sometimes, especially if nobody in your real life is doing it with you. But online, there are millions of people learning English. Find your people. It makes a huge difference. And celebrate your progress. Don't just focus on how far you still have to go. Notice how far you've come. Can you understand more than you could 3 months ago? Can you express yourself better? Have you had a conversation that went smoothly? Did you understand a video without subtitles? Those are wins. Recognize them. Be proud of them. Learning a language is hard. It takes time. It takes effort. You deserve to celebrate the small victories along the way. One more thing I want to address because this comes up a lot. People ask me, how long is it going to take to become fluent if I do these 5 things every day? And honestly, I can't give you an exact answer. It depends on so many factors. Your native language, your previous experience with languages, how much time you can dedicate, how immersed you can get. But I can tell you this. If you do these 5 things every single day, you will see progress. Probably pretty quickly. Within a few weeks, you'll notice you understand more. Within a few months, you'll feel more confident speaking. Within a year, you'll be amazed at how much you've improved. But fluency isn't really a destination. It's not like you wake up one day and boom, you're fluent, done, finished. It's more like a continuum. You're always improving. There's always more to learn. Even native speakers don't know every word in the language. So instead of focusing on some finish line way off in the future, focus on being a little bit better today than you were yesterday. Focus on the process, not just the outcome. Enjoy the journey. Find things about English that you genuinely like. Maybe you love English music. Maybe you think English movies are fun. Maybe you're fascinated by idioms or slang. Whatever it is, lean into that. Make your learning enjoyable, not just a means to an end. And remember, mistakes are part of this. You're going to say things wrong. You're going to write things that don't make sense. You're going to misunderstand. You're going to feel embarrassed sometimes. That's all part of learning. Every person who ever became fluent in a second language went through exactly the same thing. Nobody just magically speaks perfectly without going through the awkward phase. So give yourself permission to be a beginner, to be imperfect, to mess up. It's okay. One thing that really helped me was changing my mindset around mistakes. Instead of seeing them as failures, I started seeing them as data. Every mistake is information. It tells me what I still need to work on. It shows me where the gaps in my knowledge are. That's useful. That's helpful. So instead of feeling bad about mistakes, I got curious about them. Oh, interesting, I thought it was this, but it's actually that. Cool, now I know. That shift in perspective made learning so much less stressful. Also, don't compare yourself to other people. Someone else might be progressing faster than you or slower. It doesn't matter. Everyone's path is different. Everyone has different strengths and weaknesses. Someone might pick up pronunciation really quickly but struggle with grammar. Someone else might read really well but have trouble with listening. Some people have more time to study. Some people have more access to English speakers. You can't control any of that. You can only control what you do. So focus on your own journey. Compete with yourself, not with anyone else. Before we wrap up, I want to give you some practical tips for actually implementing these 5 daily habits. Because knowing what to do is one thing, but actually doing it is another. First, stack these habits onto things you already do. This is called habit stacking. You take an existing habit and you add a new one. Right before or after it. For example, you already drink coffee in the morning, right? So you could say, when I drink my morning coffee, I will listen to an English podcast. Or you already brush your teeth at night. So you could say, after I brush my teeth, I will write 3 sentences in my English journal. By connecting the new habit to something you already do automatically, it's much easier to remember and stick with it. Second, make it as easy as possible. Remove friction. If you want to read every day, keep a book or your phone with a reading app right by your bed. If you want to listen every day, have a playlist of podcasts ready to go. If you want to write every day, have a notebook and pen sitting on your desk. Don't make yourself go searching for things or setting things up every time. The easier it is, the more likely you are to actually do it. Third, track your habits. Get a calendar or a habit tracking app and mark off each day you complete all 5 habits. Seeing a chain of excess or check marks is surprisingly motivating. You don't want to break the chain. This visual reminder of your consistency is powerful. And on days when you're feeling lazy, you can look at that chain and think, I've done this for 30 days straight, I'm not going to break it now. It works. Fourth, start small if you need to. If all 5 habits feel overwhelming, start with just 1 or 2. Get those solidified, make them automatic, and then add the others. It's better to do 2 things consistently than to try to do 5 things and then quit after a week because it's too much. Build slowly. Build sustainably. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And finally, be flexible. Life happens. Some days you might not be able to do all 5. Maybe you're sick or you have a crazy day at work or you're traveling. That's okay. Do what you can. Do 3 out of 5. Do 2 out of 5. Something is always better than nothing. And then get back to the full routine the next day. Don't use one imperfect day as an excuse to give up entirely. Just keep going. I really believe that these 5 habits can transform your English. I've seen it happen over and over again. I've seen people go from barely being able to have a simple conversation to being confident, fluent speakers. And it doesn't happen because they're special or talented or lucky. It happens because they show up every day. They do the work. They stay consistent. You can do this, you really can. It doesn't matter how old you are or how long you've been studying or how many times you've tried and stopped before. Starting today, starting right now, you can commit to these 5 daily habits. Speak, listen, read, write, learn, every single day. Make that commitment to yourself. Not for a week, not for a month, for as long as it takes. Until English is not something you're learning, but something you just do. Something that's part of who you are. And remember why you're doing this. Why do you want to be fluent in English? Maybe it's for your career. Maybe it's to connect with people from different countries. Maybe it's to travel. Maybe it's to access information and content that's only available in English. Maybe it's to understand movies and music. Maybe it's just for personal growth, to challenge yourself and prove you can do it. Whatever your reason is, hold on to it. When things get tough, when you feel like quitting, remind yourself why you started. That reason is your anchor. Learning English is one of the best investments you can make in yourself. It opens up so many doors. It connects you to billions of people around the world. It gives you access to so much knowledge and entertainment and opportunity, and it's within your reach. You don't need expensive classes or perfect conditions or a magic trick. You just need these 5 habits, and you need to do them every day. So here's my challenge to you. Starting tomorrow, or actually starting today if you can, commit to these 5 things. Speak out loud. Listen to something. Read something. Write something. Learn one new thing. Do all 5. And then do it again the next day. And the next day. And the next day. Keep a record. See how long you can keep the streak going. And a few months from now, look back and see how much you've grown. I promise you, you'll be amazed. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope this was helpful. I hope it gave you a clear path forward. And I hope you feel motivated to take action. Remember, you've got this. Fluency is not some impossible dream. It's just the result of small actions repeated consistently over time. And you're capable of that. I believe in you. All right, that's it for today. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep practicing, keep improving, and most importantly, keep showing up for yourself every single day. You're doing great. Talk to you soon.